Well, hello, my friends. I'm so glad to be back with you for another Sunday inspiration. I have been working through my journal for Molly, with Molly, and just taking it a little bit at a time. And one of the things that I started to do was I started using some of her art supplies that we got from her place at, kind of clearing things out and taking care of everything. But I gathered up some of all of the art supplies because they just were so meaningful to me. But she did everything. She tried everything creatively, and I just loved that about her. But one of the things that I loved the most was her carvings. She carved out of wood, and she did lino cuts. And as you can see here, these are just a few, and they're just so beautiful and so her. And so I decided to get them out and play a little bit with them. And I use them in one of the journal pages that I have done for Molly. And I've forgotten, I'm a stencil girl, but stamps they were fun using them. Simple and easy, and that's exactly what I need right now. But her carvings are beautiful. And they're just unique to Molly. They're just, when I look at them, I see her. But I did that journal page and used the stamps and really enjoyed it and had fun playing. And I've been tasked with doing a little postcard handout for Molly's celebration of life that'll be coming up in the middle of June. We did that so that everyone could have time to get to the service and everything. But I am in charge of putting a handout together, just something to encourage people. One of the other things that I got from her supplies are these beautiful glass dip pens and her inks. They're just gorgeous. And so I got those out too and have really been playing with them. And it's amazing how a really good pen makes a difference on how they write. So I've been enjoying playing with them. So I wanted to play with them today, doing another journal page and also exploring ideas for this handout. And I did a 4x6. I cut up a bunch of 4x6 papers, and I knew that I wanted to use this border. I just love it. It's one of my favorites. I remember her carving it at Christmas. And so I thought I would explore some ideas with you using the stamps and just see what sparks ideas and what might come to mind for something that we can hand out to our guests that come to the services. And I obviously already have some favorite of her stamps, and this little flower one that's attached to a ring, which I thought was a brilliant idea, is one of my favorites. And so I thought maybe I'd see how it would look if I masked it and stamped it. I love these little flowers kind of peeking out from the border. It feels playful, and it feels very much like Molly. This is another stamp that's a favorite of mine, of hers. And so I thought I'd see, and I'm stamping off the extra ink here on a piece of paper because I just didn't want to waste any, and I thought I could cut them out and use them as collage. I can use all of this for collage. But I also was trying to think of, as I was kind of playing here, like what words would I put on my little handout? And I wasn't quite sure yet. I thought about "You Are Loved" because that's obviously a favorite. But I wanted it to have meaning and maybe something that could be handed out to others, like given away. Look how beautiful that stamp is. It's just so beautiful. So I'm trying to decide, do I write it out? Or what do I do? Do I print out words? So I decided to try and write it out because I wanted this to feel handmade. And I'm working on tissue paper because I want to put it down with fluid matte medium. But as you'll see, my skills with the dip pen and the ink are not the best, and there's no absorbency underneath my tissue paper, so I put some copy paper down. That helped. But my handwriting and what I was, when you have something in your mind that you want, I could not make it happen with the dip pen. I tried. So I'll give it a couple of attempts and then I will give up. So these weren't too bad, these last ones here, but it just wasn't what I wanted. So I thought, well, I do have some letter stamps. I haven't used them in a very, very long time. So I dug some out, and this box here actually has never even been used. So there was some really interesting kind of like intricately, almost like carved looking letters. And I thought, how perfect. I didn't even realize I had them. So I got those out and decided to stamp You Matter. And I thought, you matter is what we all need to hear, what Molly needed to hear, what so many of us need to hear. And I thought this would be great words to be able to take this little giveaway that we're going to have in the service and be able to pass it on to someone who might need to hear that. And again, I'm doing this on tissue paper so that I can put it down. And it's not perfect, and this is just the test, but I'm getting my ideas of what I want. And I really actually liked these letters and thought that it might work. And it was actually like the perfect size. And I loved that. It felt so simple, and it felt like carved like the rest of the piece or the rest of the postcard. So I thought, I'm going to put it down and I'll explore other things for the handout and, digitize it and all those kinds of things. But for now, I'm getting my ideas, and I loved this one. And I wasn't sure if I wanted it black and white, if I wanted color, This is how we get our ideas. We just start and see what we can do. So I have a Kiritaki set, but this is Molly's Kiritaki watercolor set. And me using hers is part of the importance and the journey of grief and loving and all of those kinds of things, memory. And Molly's favorite color is blue, so of course we will have some blue. I got that fully dry, and now I thought I wanted it to have a little bit of aging to it, just as part of the kind of vintage feel of the stencils and everything. So I just added a little bit of raw umber to the edges. I grabbed just a simple piece of coffee-stained collage paper and decided to use that for the background of a journal page for Molly. And I'll take my, and I'm using fluid matte medium to put that down. And really I probably should have used matte gel, but it doesn't really matter. These pages are just for me and Molly. I could have wet the paper too to make it go down smoother, but the fact that I am here and creating is the most important thing. And I'm going to put my postcard down on here, so I want to kind of push some of that, the numbers back just a tiny bit, soften it. And because the postcard that I'm using, the paper's heavier, I decided to use some matte gel to put that down so that I can get it to stay down. And using one of the flower prints from last week's video, I'm bringing some of that blue over to the other side of the journal page and still keeping the meaning and the memory of these prints and the flowers that they represent part of her journal page. Using some of my favorite stamps now to kind of build up the other side. As I use Molly's tools, it's like I'm having a conversation with her. And I am, I guess. And it makes me feel a little bit closer to her. Like we're creating together again. And the whole point of this journal is not to make something good. It's to be here, to work through the grief and to remember and to slowly build joy around the grief. Just a little bit of color to kind of push that back. I don't know why I did that, but it felt right. So I went with it. Maybe because the words felt very raw. And of course, a little bit of raw umber, because raw umber makes everything better. I just want to say how grateful I am for this community, for all your emails, your cards in the mail, your comments. I can't tell you how much they have meant to me and how they have spoken straight to my heart. I am forever grateful, and just ask that you continue to keep our family in your prayers. The grief will never truly go away. We just learn to live with it and to build joy and other good memories around the grief. But we're about a month in. It's been, by the time you see this video, it'll be 31 days. And I'm just so grateful for you. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.